How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about SNDL Sundial growers. I know it's been a minute since I've given you guys an update, but I'm getting the messages. Hey, Dre, what are your thoughts on it? We had a volatile week last week, and then the Friday just added more salt to the wound. So taking this all into consideration, we see as far as price action is concerned, there's some things you want to take notice of, knowing the ranges, and also seeing as far as the trend and the shifts we have going on in the market. I'm going to let you know about that in this video, so I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you are a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support, we want to know resistance, and as far as how far can this stock go if it decides to pull back even further. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent short interest information. Are shorts still heavily vested inside of this play? And the reason why this is important to know, because it does have an impact on the overall stock price. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know, are institutions loading up on shares, especially while SNDL is pulling back? The reason why this is important, not only does it impact the stock, but it also does show us whether there's institutional interest overall in general. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more key details. So we're going to be doing a technical analysis for SNDL Sundial growers. Let's see how it performed on Friday. So it ended up closing the day at 72 cents, being down 1.68%. On the low, it tested 72 cents, and then on the high, testing 73 cents. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 54.803 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days being at 68.061 million shares. Now, the chart we're using is a 1-year daily chart. You can see from the RSI down below, yes, we are in the oversold territory, being at 42.09. And when we take a look at our moving averages on the chart, we continue to be below all of them, which is the 200-day, the 100-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. And for SNDL to start looking bullish again, you guys know already I like to see some strength above the 21-day EMA, where it's currently set right now around 76 cents. But one thing to be aware of, on the Friday, we ended up testing just under 74 cents, being at 73.97. So there's definitely some pressure here. And of course, there were many stocks who are also getting sold off. But one thing we do see clearly, SNDL has been trading in a very tight range since it's been on this bearish trend. So you can see as far as this area of 70 cents and as well as this area right here around 80 cents. 80 cents is definitely a clear area of resistance where there's a lot of selling that is happening. But one thing we can see, the 70-cent area does continue to show strength and hold up. So if it does decide to pull back even further and get back into the 68 cents range, I'll probably look into actually adding some more shares. But if it did pull back even more, getting to around the 65-cent range, I'd add even more due to the fact that, again, when it comes to the cannabis sector, it's very seasonal. So many stocks are actually selling off around this time. So I won't be surprised if SNDL does continue to sell off, just something to be aware of. But for the most part, what you want to see from SNDL for the bullish case scenario is getting past this 74-cent level and then making that move going to 76. So let's see the short interest information for SNDL. Scrolling down on the page, short shares availability is at 10 million, updated 20 minutes ago. And then for the short ball free rate being at 1.03%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio, we can see for the close of the 8th, it was at 36.97. Then the close for the 9th, it was at 38.75. And now the close for September the 10th, which was a Friday that just passed, is at 49.38. So it is definitely trending up there. And what that tells us as far as for the market sentiment is concerned, it is a lot more negative for SNDL. And this is of no surprise. Like I said, I've been able to see that there's been a seasonal trend when it comes to cannabis stocks. So shorts are just saying, hey, this stock is only going to go anywhere but down, and they see the opportunity to capitalize on this. So just know this is going to come with volatility. But if you've been in this play long enough, that is something that, you know what, you're already pretty much used to already. So let's see how it performs as far as for Monday and as the rest of the week continues. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for SNDL. So we can see here on the inflow, it is 12,006. And then on the outflow, it was 11,406. So we ended up having an inflow day. So we can see 0 on the large for both. On the medium, it was 7,475, and then on the small, it was 4,532. When we take a look at the outflow side on the medium, it was 8,097, and then on the small, it was at 3,309. So one thing that we can clearly see here, as far as for the small scale orders, what tends to account for retail traders and investors like you and I, there was definitely a surplus there. So we know there was a lot of buying on the retail end. Now, when we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see zeros down the board. So institutions have not been loading up on large scale orders of SNDL whatsoever. And it's of no surprise because the stock not only has it been trading in a very tight range, it has been on the downtrend for quite some time. So they're probably waiting for some sort of stabilization and as well as confirmation. And I'm also going to be talking about the trend that I've noticed with cannabis stocks. And we also see this in other sectors, but this is something to keep notice of. So I won't take up any more time explaining what I'm going to be talking about. So let's jump into the final thoughts right now. So for my final thoughts for SNDL, continue to keep it on your watch list. One thing that we do know for sure, it trades in a very tight range. We know we have strong support at 70 cents, but we also do know we have a ton of resistance right at 80 cents. So that's where we have a lot of profit taking that is happening. But if you've been watching this channel long enough, you would not be surprised about this because I had you guys trading off of them fluctuations. Of course, this is not financial advice. You went out there, you did your homework, and you did your due diligence along with watching my videos. But with all of that aside, one thing when it comes to the cannabis sector, and I've noticed this with multiple stocks in the industry, that it comes down to trends. So as far as the buying coming back, I don't see it coming back towards the end of the month. So I'll see it actually start picking up from October going forward. But again, this is on the basis depending on what they talk about in regards to the Fed meeting with tapering and so on towards the end of this month. But expect there will be some buying that should be picking up near the end of this month, and especially going into October, November, and so on. This is part of the reasons why we've been seeing a lot of cannabis stocks just pull back overall in general, and it's part of the reasons why I feel this is just a seasonal trend. But like I was saying, in the technical analysis, if you're able to catch SNDL in that 60-cent range, this is definitely not a bad look whatsoever. We already know they have a very strong cash position, so this gives them a lot of flexibility in regards to acquisitions, investments, and so on. So getting it in that particular level, you really can't go wrong, especially if you believe in the long-term prospects. You could also trade off of the fluctuation because we do know it's known for having spikes. And of course, you got to make sure you devise a strategy that is right for you. You guys have already heard about the strategy that I've talked about many times on this channel. So one thing also to keep in mind of the fact, as far as legalization of cannabis on the federal level, I really do not see the Democrats actually wanting to actually get that done sometime this year. I actually see it maybe for next year or the year after. There are just too many things that are going on in regards to COVID. We also have Biden and his EV initiative. There's just so many things on the plate. So I'm not seeing it. I'm not trying to be bearish. I'm not saying, well, you know what, these stocks are going to continue to go down. They're not going to go up. But that's just something to be aware of. But do know for a fact, if we do get some news or some sort of an update, it could definitely propel this industry forward. So that's something to understand, and it's part of the reasons why it's able to have those spikes throughout the year, which we're already used to. So with all that said, as far as a choppy week that we just had, and as well as that big time pullback on the Friday, I hope you're using it as an opportunity to actually buy the stocks that you have high conviction in, especially if they pull back, or maybe there's a stock that was really expensive and you're waiting for a better price. You took advantage of that opportunity. I said it once and I'm going to say it again on this channel, and it comes from Warren Buffett. You want to be greedy when others are fearful, and then you want to be fearful when others are greedy. So since we saw that a lot of people, especially on the retail side, were buying up shares of SNDL on the Friday, gives you a good indication of what you want to start doing. So don't panic, don't be frustrated. If you have the opportunity to even average down, take advantage of this. But again, you're doing this if you have conviction and you've done your homework and you believe what the company company can do in regards to helping the stock price actually appreciate. And before I close this video out, just to give you guys the update in regards to what we saw on Fintel, we could see the short volume ratio being at 49%. So there's a lot of negative market sentiment for SNDL. Many shorts are saying, you know what, the price needs to come down even further. So this is part of the reasons why I want you guys to be prepared if you're interested in buying the dip. And when it does happen, you should be excited and you should not be frustrated. Hope you found this video helpful, and we'll be talking real soon.